What is personalization? Personalization is when you make something your own. You use your own, or you identify as closely as possible with the character through memories of your past, a real past that you're incorporating with that of the character. When you get the material, the first thing you do is you read it through, just like the audience. And after you're done reading it, you write down your impressions, the things that stood out to you, the things that you identify with, and the things you didn't identify with. Personalization now comes into play now when you start to look at each individual line and you try to see how much you can identify with it. And if certain scenes popped into your head, you make notes of that. Usually you can write this on the side of the script. You want to also, when you read it now again, because you read it again, and you should always read it multiple times, but this time you underline the sections that stand out to you as maybe you cannot identify with. Let's say, for example, that you're playing a doctor and you know nothing about doctor, and there are certain terms that don't feel they roll out of your tongue easily, so you would work on that. You would do as much research as you possibly can until you feel very comfortable with that. And then you would personalize. So let's say, for example, and I will take not the doctor, but let's say you won an award, and in the script the character is disappointed rather than being happy, and you cannot identify with that. You would have to think back in time in your life when perhaps you were maybe disappointed at a gift that was given to you, or you were disappointed in somebody's action towards you, and you try not to show it. And that way you would personalize that particular line, and you would write out, in shorthand, something to recall that moment. So before you say that line, you would think of that moment. Or as you're saying, and then you get to the point where as you're saying that line, you're thinking of that moment. And that's what you're referring to. And you can do this line per line per line. So in essence, you're memorizing events in your personal life for each line. Now it goes without saying that this is just the beginning. And after a while, you have to drop this and focus on what it is that you want in the scene to accomplish. It gets a little bit more complicated, but since we're just talking about personalization, that what personalization is sitting down and making notes line by line, and it's almost like mirroring with your personal life until you can identify with all the material, until you feel that what you're speaking feels right to you. Then you always continue, and then this is when you start to incorporate reading the lines out loud, not too loud, softly, gently, always making sure that you know what you're talking about And in this case, it's, you're talking about a particular event in your personal life, right? And you do this until it becomes second nature. So in a way, you're memorizing your personalization with the dialogue. Anyway, thank you for listening. And if you have any further questions, just leave notes and you leave your comments. Anyway, take care. Thank you.